Hi everyone, I wanted to create a follow-up video to my Kalour 520 unboxing and review. I wanted to see how they compare to a couple of other color pencils that I own, that I have seen being compared to the Prismas. So I chose a green color from each set, and then I chose like a random purple color from each set as well to compare for softness and pigment and how they lay down. So I think all of them are pretty highly pigmented. The ink tints, I think that it was a little scratchy because they are pencils that I think you can use with water. So I think that could be a reason why it was a little scratchy. But I think the comparison to the Prismas, I mean, the Prismas definitely are the softest, but the Arctics come relatively close to the Prismas, and then the Kalour followed after that. So, I also tested them for blending. I think that the Arctics definitely did relatively well compared to the Prismas, and the Kalour didn't fall too far behind. It was a little bit more difficult to blend. My blending techniques is I actually layer um, I do it in layers. I've watched a video by Sarah Renee Clark, and I kind of enjoyed that method, and it's been working out for me. One thing that you kind of have to think about when you compare pencils is if you're comparing it to a pencil that you are very familiar with and you use a lot, it's possibility that maybe those pencils might rate a little higher compared to a pencil that you haven't used or not familiar with. So that was kind of the case for me. I used the Arctics a lot ever since they came out, and I bought them. I bought the smaller set, and then now I have two of each set, the larger one and the smaller one. So that pencil to me is very familiar, and I think that's probably why I think they rated so close to a Prisma. I mean, they're soft, and blending was really easy for me. But yeah, I mean the colors they definitely um were very close to both the Prismas and the Arctics. I think that you have to consider that some of the pencils may be a little bit different when it comes to softness. I think for Prismas it's relatively consistent. Most pencils are in the Prisma set, I think, are very soft and easy to blend. With the Kalour, you have like the metallics who are a little bit more like an oil pencil, more like a Faber-Castell. So some of the colors in the Kalour will be different, will vary in different um, in terms of softness. So although I picked up, two pencils from the Kalour set that I think, rate relatively well, I think the Arctics definitely was the closest to the Prismas, and then the Kalour followed right behind that. So I also wanted to test the swatching in one of the most thing common set of coloring books that we most colorists own, and that's one of Joanna Basford's books. She usually includes a swatch page in the back. So I use Rooms of Wonder, and in the back of the coloring book, I tested the blending as well. So I think the color on this one was a little bit harder to blend. I think, again, my favorite was the Arctics. I'm very familiar with that set of color pencils. Surprisingly, I don't use Prismas as much as I do the Arctics. I don't know if it's because they're more expensive and I want to kind of use this for um, uh, a more special occasion, or when I'm trying to do, take my time on a coloring page. So, I mean, the Arctics for me, since they're cheaper, I think maybe that's why I use them a lot more. But I think, in terms of blending, it was pretty well. They did pretty well, all three of them. And so I think the Kalour set is, a really good set in terms of blending, and, softness is okay. Like I mentioned in my previous video, I look for, pigment. And I think with practice for me, I can pretty much blend, any type of color pencil as long as, you have patience. But yeah, if you're wondering if how they compare with the Prismas, I think the Arctics are a lot closer. So if you're looking for a set that is closer to the Prismas, I think the Arctics will probably be the choice that you want to purchase those. But for the Kalour set, as I mentioned before, I think to me, I just like the selection of the metallics and the glitter within some of the pencils, which I fell in love with. So that's kind of mainly why I like that set. But you know what? I'm definitely gonna use them a lot more and see whether, it improves my opinion of those pencils. But I think that some of the pencils were a lot softer, like I mentioned before, and they were a lot closer to the Prismas. But in the comparison that I did for just these colors, it's the Ardex I think is a lot closer and a lot softer to the Prismas. But yeah, I mean, definitely, I hope this video is helpful. I know that there's a lot more color pencil sets. I think the whole binds might also be a good contender to Prismas, but they're really expensive. So I thought maybe for, beginner colorists that these are probably the most common pencils that everyone has. I don't own any of the like Amazon Basics. I don't have the other set of the Derwent pencils. Unfortunately, I thought that's the set that I had, but I ended up looking through my sets and I saw that I only had the ink tints. So I think I'm gonna purchase the other set. I heard they're a lot softer, so I'm curious to see how they compare to Prismas. But I think the color selection is not as great, in my opinion. So that's why I kind of didn't choose to buy those. But yeah, the Kalour, I mean, I think I'd still enjoy it. I'm gonna try using a lot more. Definitely a tip is sharpen the pencils before you swatch and before you start a new coloring page, because sometimes you may have a little bit of a waxy layer on the pencils, especially if they're new. So for the Kalour set, before I swatched them, I definitely sharpened all of them. So that would make a big difference sometimes. But yeah, I hope this video was helpful, and I'm excited to do all my Black Friday shopping. I hope everybody had a good Thanksgiving. I definitely want to do a video on some books that I purchased at a bookstore. I think the majority of us colorists, we purchase everything online due to convenience, and also it's a lot cheaper. But I recently went to Barnes and Nobles and they had a lot of good deals on some coloring books that I've never seen before. So I think I might make a video just in case anyone's curious about the type of books that they have at, typical bookstore. Of course, they have the common ones that we all see and reviews on, and can be found on online. But it would be nice to kind of think share the types of books that you can find in an actual bookstore. All right. Again, hopefully everyone had a good Thanksgiving, and I'm excited to kind of see any haul videos. I definitely enjoy seeing those. All right. Bye. Until next time.